Hey guys, for our first review, I'm going to do a movie that's very personal for me. I mean, you could say that I'm not that into it, but I think you'll understand in a minute. The Hunger Games. I got into this book when it wasn't popular at all. No one had ever heard of it, and I was like, how is this? Is this ever going to be popular? I mean, I seriously thought it never would be, but I mean, I really enjoyed it. But it didn't seem like that broad of an idea that would appeal to everyone. But I was wrong, thankfully. And I also had the movie, and I was an extra in the movie actually. And pretty cool story is that I was the first person in line at the casting thing that they had around here, and it was really fun. And I met one of my better friends that I've had the past couple years there, so it was pretty nice in there. As into movies as I am, so it was pretty fun. And being in the movie was a great experience. Got to see how they directed it. Got to see a lot of the ideas behind it. Basically, just like you could tell how devoted they were to it by how they handled the scenes I was in around the reaping scenes, and I got to see some of the scenes where we were reacting to things that happened in the games by looking up at a blue screen, the big jumbotron. So, and I also got this as a souvenir. Got all these stickers. Pretty cool. Should be pretty jealous. And then this is a picture from the trailer, and you can see me circled on here, right there. And I made a few friends while I was there. A good movie friend of mine who we discuss every movie with, and another guy who me and him were working on a screenplay together. So it was pretty cool. And got this, which I have covered. It has all 4 signatures of the major stars. So, The Hunger Games, the movie. It's a very, very well made film. The director, Gary Ross, is very passionate about the story and his direction. Some people had a problem with it. I would understand the shaky camera complaint. I felt like the reaping part was very quickly edited, especially having been there while they were filming it. Looking for myself, it's like really quick editing. It's like, oh my gosh. And if you watch it late at night, it's like, oh. Really, that part, I understand. So the shaky camera and the arena scenes didn't bother me so much, except for the final fight. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. It's still pretty intense. It still works. It just could have been done a little bit better. But I understand why they did it. They were trying to make sure the movie stayed PG-13. And some people wanted it to be R, but that's kind of, that want to work because they made like 600 million worldwide, and if it had been R, it couldn't have done that. I mean, because a lot of teenagers went to go see it, and teenagers would still go see it, but it'd be a lot harder for them too, and they'd have to have a lot more effort. It'd be a lot harder for it to make as much as it did. So anyway, as for the writing, I feel like the screenplay was very good, and it's a very typical kind of book movie in a way. I mean, they did a good job of what they did, but it's the kind of thing where if you're not initiated into it already, I don't really understand how you enjoy it, because to me, it seems like book movies and superhero movies, if you're not initiated into them, you're really going to think they're bloated. Like they're too long. Because, I mean, it is long. 2 hours and 20 something. It's not the longest thing in the world, but it's a very good movie. Well acted by Jennifer Lawrence. She's perfect as Katniss. I mean, she brought the toughness, the survivor instinct, the caring for Prim, the bitterness towards her mother for abandoning her, and she has the confusion, and you can see the confusion in her feelings for Peeta and Gale. And I thought Josh Hutcherson was perfect as Peeta. He really just brought the nice guy role to it, and some people hate that character, but that's just how you prefer your people. He did a good job, and I thought Liam Hemsworth was good in the part of the film he was in. He was in a lot of it, but as Gale, he seemed pretty convincing. He's tough. He's got the tough guy facade. One of the surprises was Woody Harrelson. He plays the role differently than I expected, but he was funny, and he was good, and he made it enjoyable. And Elizabeth Banks was really strong as Effie. I really enjoyed that. And I thought President Snow's casting was very inspired. That was just a really good performance. Don Sutherland, he was creepy, as I said, and he was threatening, and he seemed smart enough to plot out the kind of things that President Snow did in the books. And they did a really great job of keeping the characters true to what they were in the novel. Some of the major differences between the book and the novel are how they get the Mockingjay pin, and I understand that they want to do something kind of quick, They could have done it either way. It didn't really bother me a lot. But it was really quick, and it was like something that I knew I could sense the book fans who were looking forward to it and trying to be like, come on, be faithful. And they were like, oh. But it didn't bother me a whole awful lot. But that's because I grew up watching the Harry Potter movies, and they changed a good deal of things. But then I watched some movies like Percy Jackson and Eragon and A Series of Unfortunate Events, and realized that Harry Potter is so much more faithful to the books. It's really about capturing the heart and soul of the book, which is what they do with the Hunger Games. It's not as gory as the book, but honestly, if you just take what you read in the book and you think about it while you're watching the violence in the movie, it's enough. You don't need the extra gore. I mean, a lot of people are like, gore, gore, gore. Which basically, I'm going to say this. If you wanted more gore, you sound like you're from the Capitol in the book. Just saying. I mean, I didn't want it. See more gore. I thought it was good, and I was really seeing the gore from the book in my mind already anyway, because it's very haunting violence. It's a very disturbing story, so it's not for the lighthearted. If you're looking for just a good time, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're looking for a story it's one of those stories that everyone can kind of enjoy in a way, because it does have the action and the suspense to it, but the action's not blockbuster action. It's more survival, gritty, and intense, but it's also got a love story little thing in there. I mean, it's not the major focus like a lot of people act like it is. And for the record, The Hunger Games is not like Twilight. I'm sorry to say it, but it's not. They have a love triangle, but there's been love triangles in everything in the world. The Dark Knight. I mean, you can go all the way back through every storytelling thing. There's love triangles everywhere. Okay, so some elements that could have improved on. It's really just... It's a very difficult it's difficult to pace a book movie. I feel like they did a good job for the most part, but there are a couple of parts where it's like, it wasn't the best pacing possible. They could fix that. I think Gary Ross had a good vision of it, and I think with improved special effects, it would do good. There's like the fire that she's wearing on her dress. It looks kind of, honestly, old and cheap. I know that they didn't have a big budget at first because they weren't really sure about it, how to handle it all, but I think with the fact that it was such a success, I think they'll definitely have a bigger budget for the second one, and they have a different director, and hopefully he'll get rid of the shaky cam, just because way too many people whined about it. I mean, I'm all for it either way. Hopefully Francis Lawrence, director of I Am Legend, will bring something new to it and improve it further. I really like the ending sequence. Some people don't, because it skips ahead from the book. But it really does lead perfectly into 2. It makes me want to watch 2 instantly. I saw the movie 4 times in theaters because I was in it and I was looking for myself every time, and I found myself. It was a very personal movie for me. It's not a perfect movie by any means. It has its pacing problems. It has the fire effect issue, the shaky cam at times. There's some scenes that if you weren't initiated to the book, I think would come off kind of wrong, and they did the best they could at conveying it, considering everything. And when you take the Rue scenes, like Rue and Katniss, they're good scenes, but in the movie they don't develop it near as much as the book. And I really do understand how it's a difference in timing and everything. And I'm not saying that they had to have that, but I'm just saying it's more powerful if you read the book, especially because then you got what they did in the book and the movie, and it adds layers to it. So I would recommend reading the book before I watch the movie if I were you. It's a very solid movie, very good book adaptation. I'd give it 4.25 stars out of 5 stars, which means, well, I'll tell you how my rating system works. 0 is horse crap. 1 is potted meat. 2 is school food. 3 is McDonald's. 4 is chocolate chip cookie cake. And 5 is steak. This would be chocolate chip cookie cake with 1/4 of a steak. So it's a pretty satisfying meal. It could be a little bit better, hoping that the second one is better. And I just wanted to thank you all for watching, and hope that you have fun with this. And please leave comments below. Let me know what you think of my review, and just let me know what you thought of the movie as well, and feel free to debate.